On December the 14th, the Sandy Hook massacre shook America to the core. 20 children were killed in cold blood, along with 6 of their teachers. The initial emotion gave way to indignation. Why did an unstable 20-year-old have access to so many lethal weapons? For the first time, Barack Obama pledged to take action.
So we have to come together, and we're going to have to take meaningful action to prevent more tragedies like this from happening, regardless of politics.
Over the last 15 years, there have been 31 shootings in schools in the US. Some names, like Columbine High School or Virginia Tech University, still echo. In April 2007, a 22-year-old student shot dead 32 people at Virginia Tech, the deadliest shooting in US history.
Well, this is Rima's room. As you see, it used to be her room. Now it's more like a place where we have put all the gift poster, the pictures, the letters, the mail. So all these are letters.
Mona Samaha lost her daughter Rima 5 years ago in the Virginia Tech shooting. She was 18.
Besides her pretty bed, this is the dress she was wearing the last day.
Rima was shot dead during a French class.
In the bag.
On the day? In the street?
Her clothes and her backpack, her school backpack. We still have not opened them. We just have no heart to open them yet. I mean, it happened. But if it's gonna end up with something positive, then it's fine.
So to ease the pain, the Samaha family began fighting to improve public safety and prevent tragedies like their own happening again.
So what did it give you? Did it give you like a login and everything?
Rima's brother Omar became an anti-gun activist, exposing absurdities in US law. Today, he asks his father to take part in an exercise to get a gun permit online, a perfectly legal procedure in Virginia.
It's a tutorial. Lean back, the center of gravity is behind your body.
But they consider this training,
being able to hold
which
the
is
gun steady, the gun's going to waver. So you want to at least stand
crazy.
straight and hold your breath, and then from there fire the shot. And by holding your breath, that's going to eliminate a lot of the movement on the gun. On a table or something.
An hour later,
semi-automatic handgun jams, the shooter should pull the
time
trigger
for the
until
test,
fires,
20
push it
multiple
into the
choice
gun.
questions. Joe Samaha is a complete novice. He's never handled a gun. And to further complicate the exercise, he hasn't seen the whole film, and yet...
Congratulations, you scored 19 of 20, 95%. To view and print your certificate, click here. To Joe Samaha successfully completed the class specified below, 16th day, which is conducted by the instructor whose name and signature appears below, and has met the competency requirement for obtaining a concealed handgun permit as prescribed by law.
No one checks the candidate's ID. The sheriff's office simply verifies that Joe doesn't have a criminal record before sending him his license 30 days later.
The most dangerous period of our lives are ages 18 to 24, and a lot of pressure on these students when they're in school. They have mental health issues present themselves mostly during that age group. It's science. It's not something we're making up. And with drugs and alcohol available, there's too much potential for danger.
In July last year in Colorado, it became legal to carry weapons on campus. A group of students close to the National Rifle Association, the NRA, persuaded the Denver Supreme Court to deliver an historic decision. All state-run universities must now allow weapons to be carried within their grounds. 16 universities are concerned. 26-year-old Catherine is a law student.
I will show you my permit.
She's permanently armed when on campus, and it was in the classroom that she first felt the need to carry a handgun.
Very personal. Just I became more aware of random violence through criminal law courses here at the school and sitting in courtrooms watching murder trials and just becoming more aware of kind of a need to be able to defend myself if I were in a situation that warranted self-defense.
Like many students, Katherine was traumatized by the series of shootings in schools, and she no longer feels safe in class.
So sometimes I hear the argument that students don't need to carry guns because we have the police. So if anything bad were to happen, we could call the police and they'd be here right away. If someone were to come through that door and start shooting now, if I call the police and wait for them to come, I'll probably already be dead. Yeah, so if, you know, how quickly can I access my firearm? Well, within one movement of my arm, and then back, I have my firearm loaded, ready to use if I need to.
Katherine supports the NRA's line. She's become passionate about carrying guns, wants to set up an association for armed students, and is looking for new recruits. As soon as Jack turns 21, he'll take the test for carrying a gun on campus.
I would feel more safe. Things like the Aurora shooting are very likely to happen in places that have these bans in effect.
More likely to happen.
Yes.
I mean, they're still exceedingly rare.
Thankfully, very thankfully.
They're still exceedingly rare, but more likely to happen in a place where, you know, the audience there or the population can't defend themselves.
Not surprisingly, many teachers feel uneasy. Some have tried to put pressure on the school heads to stop armed students entering the classroom, but they failed. You don't mess with the law, so much so that few teachers dare to speak out in public.
This is the first semester that this policy has been in effect, so it's kind of a new thing. And I have not asked my students about it. You know, I kind of don't want to know. I think it would change how I related to my students if I knew that they had a weapon.
Is it something that scares you to have students with weapons in your classroom?
I wouldn't say, I'm not sure that's the word I would use. It definitely makes me uneasy. It would make me uneasy if I were getting into a heated discussion with a student about a grade to know that they had a weapon. Just because people do get very emotional about issues of grading, and I try to be as respectful of students' views as I can, but students can and do get upset.
At police headquarters here on campus, they estimate 1% of students are armed. Officially, you need a permit, but the checks aren't exactly strict.
You can, if you've got the permit, you can carry it on campus. I don't know if there's really a way. We don't check everyone at the door. We don't have metal detectors at every entrance. There's various ways to get into campus, so that would just be impractical. We just couldn't do it.
And police on campus keep no register of the arms circulating inside university. Our inquiries into local armories revealed that students on the campus had bought assault weapons altogether legally. Jonathan is 24 and a professional photographer. Contrary to appearances, he's not preparing to go to a rifle range.
It's loaded?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For the last 2 years, he's kept his gun with him at all times in a holster.
Stanley?
Openly carrying a weapon is legal in most American states. Here in Virginia, Jonathan doesn't even need a permit. Anyone can carry a gun in a holster once they've reached the age of majority.
I've never had an officer approach me and make any sort of negative comment about it. A lot of them will thank me, or a lot of them will ask me about a mutual friend. It's never been a negative situation. The police do, have to stay on guard, and they don't know who I am, and they don't know why I'm carrying this gun, but they know that it's a right, and it's just like you walking down the street. They don't stop you walking down the street because it's your right to walk down the street.
Jonathan is convinced that wearing a gun belt protects him from being assaulted. It reassures him.
You wouldn't notice someone with a gun around?
I don't know. I didn't notice.
If we had just strolled on by and you were just minding your own business, you probably wouldn't have, made a second thought. So that's something that we like to educate people about, is that it's out there and it's a normal thing.
and that once you start seeing people do it, then it just becomes a more, normal occurrence. Very nice. Look happy, you guys.
We're at Omar Samaha's home. Since his sister Rima died in the Virginia Tech shooting, he's been fighting to get tougher legislation.
Here's a gun that I bought in a gun show. Went there.
Omar regularly carries out surprise checks to demonstrate how easy it is to buy firearms. He's joined the Brady campaign, a powerful anti-gun lobby named after the White House spokesperson, wounded during the attempted assassination of US President Ronald Reagan in 1981.
When I was in France, like I told my friend.
What are you looking for now?
I'm finding like a Glock or like an AK or AR-15 carbine. Here we are. $1,000.
Colin survived the Virginia Tech shooting. He was in Rima Samaha's class when the sniper opened fire. He got hit by 4 bullets.
I cannot buy a beer without showing my ID in America, okay? But I can buy this without showing my ID? Like, that's insane. That is insane.
Colin handed us video filmed a few months ago using a hidden camera.
How you doing, sir? Just wonder if we can see your Mahdi Egyptian.
We're in a gun show, an arms fair.
About like 6:30? 6:50?
This private individual has a number of gunshots for sale. The deal is clinched. Colin's accomplice pays in cash. There'll be no trace of the transaction. In under 10 minutes, the man leaves with an assault weapon on his shoulder. The same kind of weapon the Sandy Hook killer used to slaughter tens of children. After the Newton tragedy, Barack Obama says he wants a ban on the trade in assault weapons. The pro-guns lobby hasn't wasted a minute. Its supporters have bought as many assault weapons and munitions in the last 2 weeks as over the last 3 years.